We've got the latest release from MN models. This is the MN82T, and for this one they've gone for a recovery truck. This is an update to the previous versions they released. So originally you had the MN82, which was this pickup truck style. Then they released the MN82S, which was this super tourer. So it got all like the overland rack, you got like opening compartments and everything. Really, really cool. Now with this MN82T, they've actually got a manually adjustable boom. It does actually have a working winch you can control off the transmitter as well. I'm really interested to see if this thing can actually tow something. Now it comes in two different colors. You can get this yellow or the red. I mean, it is a really bright color. I can't say I'm a fan of the color, to be quite honest. I think they'd been better off going for some kind of like classic Toyota style colors. But you do have a full interior in there. You've got seats in there. You've actually got dashboard, steering wheel and so on. It is a shame the doors don't open, because on the MN168 they do, and obviously it makes it so much easier to get a driver in there and just adds a nice bit of detail to it. On the front though, you've got that nice kind of super touring front bumper, and your bonnet actually opens, which is where your battery sits, and you've got a 1200 milliamp hour 2S Li-ion battery. So on the rear you can see we've got that boom. Now it does say it's adjustable. It is just manually adjustable, so basically all you're going to do is just pull this off here, unwrap it, and then you can adjust the height. We'll go through doing that in a minute, because you know, really it needs to be like up there, doesn't it? Other than that, you can see we've got that nice flatbed. It does say, I believe it's saying it's got a 3 kilogram load capacity. So it'd be interesting to see what it's actually like for towing. We do have LED lights and stuff. We'll trial those out in a moment. It's actually officially licensed as well. So it is an officially licensed Toyota LC79 hardbody. They are nice hard bodies as well. You know, you can see it's missing some pieces. They come in the bag. You got to stick your own bits on, so you get a little bit of model building. So it's not quite ready to run. You know, you got to stick those bits on. So wheels and tyres are the same that came on the previous models, so just these plastic wheels. The tyres are really basic, to be honest. They're not very grippy. They're not glued on, they're not bead locks, and there's no foams in them, so you know, they're not the best, to be honest. The other thing with these models as well is that they use this screw style fitment, so it's not as easy just to, you know, swap to different wheels and tyres. It'd be much nicer if they just did them with a proper hex fitment like everything else. You can get adapters, but you know, otherwise you need to find a wheel that fits. Now, no oil-filled shocks, which is a shame. They did do oil-filled shocks on the MN168. On this one, you've basically got leaf springs on the rear, and then you've got shocks and springs. They're just friction shocks. And then on the front, you've got 4 links, and then you've got, they're not even friction shocks, they're just like shocks and springs, I suppose. You can't fit any oil in them. They're a bit of a weird design, to be honest. But again, they do the job, I suppose. Now, chassis-wise, it's just a plastic chassis, plastic axles, plastic drive shafts, plastic links. You can get loads of upgrades for the MN model platform. You know, you can get metal axles, you can get metal links, you can get oil-filled shocks. You know, you can change the wheels and tyres and so on. So, you know, there is plenty of upgrade options available, and really cheap. You can get brushless systems for these for like $30. Crazy how cheap stuff is for this. It looks like they've updated the steering servo as well. I'm pretty sure it says it's either a 17 or a 19 gram waterproof steering servo. So it'd be interesting to see if we've got any more power. I can't remember what it was on the old models. But on the front, you can see, you know, it is just plastic links. You've got a plastic servo horn again. So, you know, fairly basic, but obviously, you know, it is a cheap rig. So the transmitter it comes with is their usual transmitter. Now it does say you can control the winch on channel 3 here. So you've got a plus and a minus. So it looks like it's just a single click up and a single click down. But again, we'll test that in a minute. Otherwise, you've got your throttle rate, your light control with the looks of it, and your steering trim adjustment. Now, I believe with these ones, if it's like the previous models, you've got kind of like an electronic 2-speed where you can just change the throttle dual rate, basically, to give you a bit more wheel speed or a bit less. Also in the box, you get a little bag of goodies. Let's see what we got in there. So you get your little instruction booklet. It's got all the details on like the transmitter functions, stuff like that. And at the very back, it shows you where to stick on all the little extra pieces for the different models. You get a little 500 milliamp hour USB charger. So it's going to be quite a slow charge, to be honest, for the included battery. You get another little bag of accessories. Looks like we've got the mirrors, some lights in there, some tone eyes and stuff like that. You get your snorkel piece. Then on this sprue, you've got the top of your snorkel, you've got your mirrors, you've got your door handles and so on. I would normally recommend gluing them on because quite often they're not that snug a fit, so they will come off. You also get your little side panels to go on the rear of the bed as well. And you get some stickers if you want to stick them on. We got some Toyota stickers, Land Cruiser stickers. So yeah, nice little sticker sheet. So the transmitter takes 2 AA batteries. So let's get those in there, get it all powered on, and let's see what it's like. Okay, batteries are in. If we turn our transmitter on, you get a little kind of blue flashing light at the top once you turn it on. And your power switch is actually underneath. We turn that on. There you go, beep to tell us it was on. Okay, so when you first turn it on, your headlights are on. You can also see we've got tail lights on the rear as well. Now when you steer, you've got indicators, and you've got indicators on the rear as well. You do also have brake lights and reverse lights. So if we go forward and then brake, you can see we've got brake lights, and then if we go in reverse, we get reverse lights. And if you press this light switch button on the transmitter, which if we just do that, press it, your lights go off, but you still have your indicators. You still actually have your tail lights on the rear as well. Still have your brake lights and still have your reverse lights. So all it's doing is just turning the headlights off. What you can also do as well, if you hold down the light switch button, you actually get hazard lights. You get them on the rear as well, which is nice. And you can turn your headlights back on by just pressing the light switch button again, so you've got the headlights and the hazard lights. With that kind of bright white light, it is a little bit harder to see the indicators on camera. You can see them off camera easier. The same for the lights on the rear as well. It's much easier to see them off camera than it is on camera. What's interesting with this, just trying on the bench, it kind of comes in forward, brake, reverse, but then it kind of doesn't. So let me just show you what I mean. So if I just drive forward slowly and then go backwards, it goes straight into reverse, which is cool. But if I go forward a bit faster and then hit the brake, then I've got to let go and do reverse. So it's almost like you've got, you know, brake and just forward reverse. I mean, I much prefer just forward reverse, to be honest. I find it much easier to use. Right, let's just raise that boom up, which we can do that just by basically taking it off here and then just popping it off down here, and then just get it to the height you want it. So I reckon about there, and then just wrap it around again, all the way around, and then ooh, that's going to be a bit tight, isn't it? Oh, that's good, it came undone. We're off to a great start. Let me just tie that back up again. Okay, I've tied it back up. I'm no master fisherman or knot tire, so we've just chucked it on there. You can see that winch on the rear there. So if we just chuck the rig down over there a minute. So you control the winch via the plus and the minus here. So if you press the plus button, it actually feeds the winch out. And just to show you, look, it is actually a pretty long cable. So look, that is how far it goes. So, you know, you've got a decent length, plenty for towing. And then to winch it back in, you hold down the minus button. You see, it's got a decent amount of speed to it. You know, it's not like super slow or anything like that. So, you know, be interesting to see what it's actually like and if it's able to lift a rig. Okay, let's just see if it can actually winch the rig up, shall we? So we got the stock MN82 here. So I'm just going to winch it in. I don't know if you can hear it. You can hear it's definitely working, but it has managed to lift the front. You can see where they're winched up as well. We have unloaded that front suspension. So what you'll probably find without much weight on the front, as you're driving, it's probably going to lift the front end a little bit, but we'll give that a try and just see what it's like. But the main thing is it actually works, which is really, really cool. You know, I love cool little stuff like this. I mean, I know sometimes there's a bit of novelty factor, but it's just cool that it's a nice little detail, isn't it? Right, I'm going to get all the body parts installed, like the mirrors, the side panels and stuff like that, and then let's get it outside. Let's see what it runs like first, and then let's do some towing and see what it tows like. Okay, so we've got everything installed. We've got a snorkel, we've got our mirrors and everything. So most of it all went on fine, actually, just clipped in. The only ones I had to glue was the mirrors because they were super loose. And then just this one side windscreen wiper. Otherwise, the rest of them did just all pop in quite nicely, to be fair. The only other thing I noticed as well is that on the picture, it shows black door handles. But what I got was just the chrome door handles. There was no black door handles included, which is a shame. I'm not a fan of chrome, so I think it would have been nicer if they were black, not chrome. Now, in my excitement to try out the winch, I completely forgot to talk about the rest of the electronics. So they have made another change to this, which is really nice as well. So it comes with a 280 sized brushed motor, but the previous ones had all-in-one electronics, whereas this one, you won't be able to see it in there, but this one now actually has a standalone receiver and a standalone ESC, so the same as what they've done with the MN168. Now, the nice thing about that is it means you are not limited on upgrade options, so you could keep the stock radio, chuck a brushless system in there or a different ESC and so on without having to change the radio gear as well. So, you know, that's going to save you like, what, $30 or something like that. So you could keep this radio, chuck like a $30 brushless system in there, and honestly, it would completely transform the performance of this rig. If you're interested, check out my MN168 builds video. I did the similar thing into that, and it was so much better and for not a lot of money. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well was this throttle rate that I mentioned earlier. So basically, if I just hold the RC up, if we go full throttle, you can see that's how fast it is. Now, what we're going to do, if we press that throttle rate button as we're driving, you'll see the speed increase. So I'm just going to hold it here. We're going to give it some throttle. Then I'm going to press it. You can see the headlights flash as it changes. So you get quite a bit more wheel speed in that second throttle rate, which is like an electronic 2-speed. What I generally find though on the previous models is you probably want it in the higher dual rate, to be honest, to be able to crawl nicely, because otherwise it just doesn't have enough power to like push over obstacles. So yeah, we'll try them both on the trail just to see what it's like. The other thing I've noticed with this one as well is it seems to keep leaning to one side. So I don't know if it's down to the suspension or maybe where some of the electronics are placed, but I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of leaning to this side over here as opposed to just being level. Now I mentioned earlier they'd update the steering servo as well. This one to me seems quite slow, to be fair. I'm sure the other ones were much faster. Yeah, it doesn't look the fastest thing in the world. So again, we'll see what that's like on the trail as to what it's like for power. Now the steering servos themselves, it's really hard to show you, but they are like micro servos for a mini crawler. So you could just literally get like, I don't know, like an Endura 7-kilogram one or something like that. They're like $20, something like that, nice and cheap. Okay, we're out on the trail with the MN82T. Let's just try out the trail speed first of all. So we're in the lower dual rate setting at the moment. Okay, so you can see it's not the fastest thing in the world in the lower dual rate, but you know, decent walking pace. Let's change to the second dual rate. You should see the lights flash. There we go. Okay, that's much better. You got a decent little walking pace. Again, not like lightning fast or anything, but you know, it's got a decent bit of pace to it. So let's just see what the slow speed control's like on this thing. So I've got it in the lower dual rate again. Don't know if you can hear it, but it is whining for Britain. There we go, we're finally moving. Come up to a little rock, oh man. So yeah, you can see how much throttle I've got on the go, look, and it's just constantly making noise. I'm giving it almost full throttle now. Oh man, it's definitely struggling. Okay, and then let's switch to the higher dual rate again. And let's just see if it's any better now. There we go, straight away we got a bit more. There we go, I'm having to use less throttle. Still struggling a bit. Look, the tires aren't the best, to be honest, but oh, there you go, a bit of hesitation again. Look, hit an obstacle, giving it some throttle, not going anywhere. If I give it a bit more, there we go. It's definitely better in the higher dual rate. Let's just take on some roots. And definitely with these things, you need to keep a kind of a decent pace going so that they don't get stuck on everything. And obviously with this being the straight axles, ground clearance is a little bit of an issue. We definitely could do with some better tires, that's for sure. Oh, wow. Okay, hang on. We're struggling. Let's see what it's like coming up to these bigger routes. You can definitely see those tires are struggling a bit. It's very bright today. Come on. Let's give it a bit of wheel speed. Wasn't quite where I intended to go, but kind of made it there. Okay, let's do the little bank climb, test out the grip on these tires. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be up to much. I mean, at least with this being the tow truck with the flatbed, you know, we got less rear weight. You can see it's kind of unloading the front a little bit less. Yeah, we're definitely struggling for grip. Oh, there we go. Look, we got a bit. Off we go. Let's just try some rooting tooting. I'd actually be quite surprised if it makes it over this, to be honest. I mean, this is normally what we try mini crawlers on and they make it over, but oh, close. A little bit of wheel speed and we should get over that. Oh, grounded out on me. Hang on, we got to go back a little bit when we can actually get reverse. Oh, same again. Struggling with ground clearance there. Come on. Right, let's try from here. Go. Yay. Okay, next route is bigger. Let's see if we can get up here. Oh, come on. Yes, yes, yes. Go on. Oh, we're gonna have to probably wheel speed this one. Let's just try. You can see it's grounding out. Let's give it a bit of punch. Yay, made it. Right, we've just got a bit of mild trailing here. You know, you can see they're not the best at the box, but you know, obviously they are cheap. I mean, the nice thing about this one is that standalone ESC and receiver, so it's gonna be much easier to upgrade it. And considering how cheap the brushless systems, there we go, we're struggling again. Yeah, considering how cheap the brushless systems are, you know, you could make it much more capable for not a lot of money. And I was really surprised
how well my MN168 was once I just chucked that like $30 brushless system in it. You know, for a bit of mild trailing, it's still doing a pretty decent job. You just need to keep that kind of constant throttle, really. It doesn't do well with the kind of obstacles at slow speed, and obviously with the ground clearance as well, it struggles a bit. And again, change the wheels and tires and it'll be much better as well, but you know, that's not too bad. Look, again, I slowed down, and that's the problem. Don't slow down and then it's not too bad. But I reckon it would look cool with a bit of weathering, stuff like that. Pretty much my answer to everything, really, isn't it? Weather it. If it doesn't look great out of the box, weather it, chuck some stickers on it, and then it'll look much better. There you go. Again, see that? So just to show you, I'm on the throttle. It's struggling a bit. Bit more throttle. There we go. Off we go. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's better with the ESCM receiver than the stock one was. It seems about the same to me, but obviously you've got the advantage of now you could upgrade it. Okay, so next challenge is, can it actually tow something? So we got the stock MN82 hooked up, so let's just see if it can pull it. So we are in the higher dual rate. Oh, it's doing it. Let's see how much speed we can get. Pulling wheelies. Oh, it's struggling to turn, mind. That is a very large turning circle. But it is doing it, look, it's still on the back. That's cool. That's not bad. Well, to be fair, I didn't think it would do that well. Let's see if it can tow up an incline. Oh, wheelies. Oh, it's struggling. This might need to give it a bit of a yank. Oh, come on. Come on, you need to move. It doesn't quite have the power to go up the incline, look. Just straight away doing a wheelie. You know, we need more weight on the front, really. Oh, we left it behind. That's cheating. Come on. Cheater. Well, there you go. It can tow if it's on flat ground, but if you try to do any like inclines or obstacles, it's just going to lift the front and then really struggle. And that'd be rude if we didn't just run it through the stream, wouldn't it? Oh, struggling straight away. Come on, get some tire grip. Oh, through the gap. Yeah, these tires are definitely not the best. Oh, stuck again. Come on. You can do it. Push, push through. Ground clearance issues. Let's just see how it does up this little incline here as well. Whoa, struggling, bit of wheel speed. Come on. Oh no, first rollover. Back on his wheels, another crack. Go on, wheel speed. Hey, made it. Okay, got some nice roots along here. Just test out the suspension movement. I imagine we'll get some ground clearance issues. Oh, straight away. Come on. Yeah, I think out of the box, the MN168 is better. Obviously, that has the Paul axles and the bigger wheels, so it has better ground clearance anyway, but yeah, I wonder if there is a difference between the radio gear they've used, you know, with the standalone ESCM receiver like they have on the 168, because I don't know, it almost seemed like the 168 had slightly better slow speed control and drivability, but maybe it's just my imagination. Obviously I've upgraded mine to brushless, so it's been a while since I've ran it stock. I mean, obviously now you've got that standalone receiver like I mentioned, at least there's upgrade potential. I mean, it's not amazing out of the box, is it? But you know, chuck some oil-filled shocks in it, some better wheels and tires and that brushless system, and you'd have yourself a nice little crawler. Bit more rooting tooting. Oh, go on. At least you've got plenty of wheel speed on it as well, to be fair, you know, it's enough to get you over obstacles when you're stuck. Okay, we've had to pick a slightly different last obstacle today because there's people over by our other one. So let's just see if we can get up here. I think we're going to need a little punch. Oh, okay, we're going over there. Interesting. I don't know if you can hear in the background that any old Iron Man that drives around do my head in, they do. Okay, we're making it up there, making it up there. Last obstacle is some roots. Oh, it's taking us the wrong way. We can come around here. That's not bad for a bit of general trailing.
Well, what do you think? I mean, really, it was pretty much the same as all the previous MN82 models. Obviously, the main difference with this now is that you've got that standalone ESC and receiver, so it's going to be much easier to upgrade. You know, I do like the fact that we've got the winch on the rear and you can tow, and to be honest, I was actually surprised it was able to tow that stock MN82. I didn't think the motor would have the guts in it, to be quite honest, so I was quite surprised at that. You know, other than that, you've got the same pretty basic suspension, tyres aren't great, slow speed control, it's alright, but it's not great by any means. But to be fair, for the price, you know, you are getting a nice hard body. You know, with this one, you get in the winch, you know, it's definitely got potential if you want to throw a bit of money at it, or if you just want a cheap trail truck that you can tow some things around, you know, it's pretty cool. Now, out of all my MN82s, I think this is the one that I'm going to chuck some upgrades on. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. I've got a few things in my car in AliExpress already, just to get some upgrades on the go, brushless system, wheels, tires, stuff like that. And to be fair to them, they've done a pretty good job with this basic transmitter. You know, the fact that now you can control the winch off it, I did like the fact that you could now have hazard lights on instead of just your indicators. I'm not a fan of indicators. Is anybody a fan of indicators? Let me know in the comments if you like indicators. If you do, why? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, for how basic this transmitter is, you know, I think they've done pretty well with it. Anyway, let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you're interested in picking one up for yourself, I'll put a link in the description to where you can pick one up from. AliExpress have got a back to school sale on at the moment. You've got some really good discounts on there and some coupon codes and stuff. And it's worth checking Banggood's website as well, because they quite often have sales and discounts and stuff like that as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.